Good day, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Vise Squad, brought to you by the Anadramas Fly Company. This week, carrying on with our Batman-inspired flies. I know I've been taking all these motivation and ideas from the 66 movie. So these are the older characters, the original characters, and the original colors. This week, we're going to do Batgirl. And way back when, Batgirl was all purple, not black. So we went with sort of a purple pheasant tail, Frenchy-ish something or other. Anyway, silly bugs. But we are going to start with a size 10 jig hook. This is an R7 hook from Fly Life Co. I've got a 532 matte black tungsten bead on there. And we're going to use some yellow 70 denier UTC today, which will start behind the bead. And we'll snip the tag out. I'm going to run that all the way down to the bend. About there. And we're going to grab some pheasant tail. This is purple dyed pheasant tail. And I'm going to grab 6 or 7 barbels of that for the tail. I'm going to stack it right on top of that hook shank. And put a couple loose wraps in there. I don't want the tail terribly long. Maybe just shorter than what the body will be, or a little less. Just something like that. And I'm going to follow that all the way up to the bead. And we'll snip that up. Next, I'm going to grab some ultra wire. This is hot yellow, size, pardon me, small. And I'm going to tie that in. The far side, or your side of the hook there. And we'll tie that down right to the tail. Next, I'm going to grab a few more pheasant tail fibers. I'll try and find some longer ones because we're going to wrap the body with it. When I do the tail, if I've got any short fibers on the feather, that's where I use those up. But, we'll grab 6 or 7 to wrap the body with. On this size 10, this is a pretty big hook, but so then we'll just build a little taper up with our thread. Doesn't need to be drastic, just as long as you're tapered up. All right, so that's probably enough, doesn't have to be much. We'll grab those pheasant tail fibers, start working our way forward with them. And we'll bring those right up to the bead. Tie them off. Now reach in with our scissors. Snip that up. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is take our wire and I counter wrap it. I like to do one full wrap at the base of the body and then start working my way forward. Just do even wraps all the way forward. All right. I'll grab that behind the bead. Some nice tight turns in there. And we'll just spin that out of there. something like that. Next, what I'm going to do is grab a piece of, this is purple, it's kind of pearly flash. I'm going to tie that in right along the back side of the hook shank. And we'll bring that down, maybe just a little less than a bead width there. And we're going to grab some dubbing. This is some Vicuña dubbing. This is Summer Duck. Nice yellow color. And I'll just dub a little bit under our thread here. I don't need lots on there. I'm going to add just a touch more. Okay, now for our CDC collar, what I'm going to do first is I've grabbed, invariably in CDC packages, you don't get all big fiber or all big feathers unless you're buying really top quality stuff. So I'm going to take this tiny little feather, and I've got it might be hard to see on the camera here, but what I have is a piece of Mr. Clean Magic Eraser that I've just cut into a narrow strip. And then I've cut a slice into it. And what I do is I'm going to put that CDC feather in there, stem down, and I'm going to let those fibers fold up. So essentially it's going to fold that feather in half for me. And then I'm going to take my material clip here, and I'm going to grab that so that now it looks like that, more or less. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some scissors here, and I'm going to cut the stem off, leaving just a little bit of those fibers sticking out the back side of the material clip, so that when we split our thread, which we'll do now, we're going to start by counterclockwise turning that thread. Once we do that and we can split that thread, it'll give us something to hang on to with it. So if you spin your thread counterclockwise, that'll uncord it, being as we're using UTC. If you're using nano silk, could do the same thing. But if you just take your bodkin and run it down that thread, it'll flatten it out. It might be hard to see on the camera, but it'll flatten it right out. And then what we'll do is just use a really sharp bodkin for these. For doing this, it really helps. Use a pin as well. But what we'll do is we'll split it and we'll open that up. Next, what we'll do is we'll take that CDC in the material clip, and I'm going to put it right between those two strands of thread, and I'm going to pull the thread tight and carefully remove the material clip. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold it up with my finger, and I'm going to start spinning it clockwise, and that'll cord that thread back up, and it'll tighten around all those CDC fibers. I like to spin it a few times just to know that they're all going to be nice and locked in there. Pretty satisfied with that. Next, we'll just take that and start wrapping it around behind the bead. And just, pardon me, just pull those fibers back so that forced forward. Like that. And then once you've got those all wrapped, you can kind of separate the top and pull it down either side of the hook, and then we can have a nice spot for bit of flash to run through there. One, two there, that's just not cooperating as usual. Alright, then we'll just tie that in like so. few nice tight binding wraps in there. And we'll reach out, snip that out of there. And then I'm just going to build a little yellow thread collar. And we'll grab our wood finish tool. And we'll just finish that off. When I was coming up with the idea and how to figure this one out, I had put a UV glue bubble on the back side of it, but I just thought it made it look a little clumsy. But a drop of UV or some head cement on those thread wraps right there is probably a good plan. I'm just going to snip all the CDC off just a little bit shorter. That seems a little bit long. There we go. Now the last step, I'm going to take a straight pin here, and I've got some acrylic paint. This is yellow, bright yellow. We'll put a couple dots on the side of the bead here for her eyes, just for fun. Why not? One side, something like that. There we go. Batgirl. I hope you can see it in it the way that we do. At any rate, actually, this probably might not fish too badly. You know, purple works, and you know, I mean, that yellow might get it some attention. But it's nice and heavy with that 532 bead on there. That'll get you down. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed the video, folks. It's been a lot of fun carrying it through with this Batman theme. And next week we've got, I'll show you, I have it sitting here, just a sneak preview. Maybe you can guess who that's supposed to be. But at any rate, next week we will reveal that guy. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hit the bell, you won't miss any of our upcoming content, which there is always upcoming content. Rick is a busy guy filming and editing and doing all that kind of stuff. So, you can check out our sponsors gear at fishingandoutdoors.ca for our Canadian friends and .net for our American friends. I've probably got that backwards this morning. It's a little early for me this morning, but at any rate, please go check out our sponsors. That's the Anagram Spy Company. Check out the Goes to 11 page. Check out all our stuff. Give us a bunch of likes. We really, really appreciate it. Until next week, everyone, take care.